Let me just start recording them. There we go. Hope you're all well. Let me just put the notes up for you quickly. I have actually put it on the side over there. So you're welcome to access it. Bronwyn will be uploading it shortly for you. Let me just quickly. Just find it once. There we go. I'm not going to go through this. All of us know. Please switch off your video. Please mute your microphone. Yeah. So in terms of tonight's class, we're going to go through some of the stuff, the more difficult things. As you know, that's elasticity. What I've done is I did a little speak to it last week. I did give a bit of an introduction, but we are going to go into the nuts and bolts this evening. Okay.
Hi, Christian.
Hi, Bronwyn.
Sorry to disturb. I've noticed that Mr. Willie LaRue, the module leader for the course, is in the session tonight. So I would just like him to give a brief welcome and just to say hello to you and the students that are in the session, if he doesn't mind to do so.
Bronwyn, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Bronwyn. Hi, Gershwin, and hello, everybody. Actually, I just wanted to thank you all for participating, and I think we should give a big bunch of flowers to the Cape Town Regional Office, Bronwyn and Gershwin, for this effort. We really appreciate it. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. I just want to say one or two things. I've uploaded a mock exam paper on the My Exam sites, and I've sent out an announcement, but the take-up to the mock exam is dismal. So I don't know whether you've seen the announcement, whether you check your MyLife email addresses, post and so on. The mock exam must be off the exam site before the actual exam starts. Now the exam starts, they ask us to remove the mock exam by tomorrow evening. So I just uploaded sort of first semester assignments there. So it's not the actual content that's important, but it's important. What's important that you make sure that you know how to access the My Exam site. It's not the normal My module site. It's not on My Unisa. It's on My Exam. So there's a different portal. The link to that is on the My Unisa landing page. There's a link. I've also included the link in the announcement. So please go there, log in, see whether you can access your mock exam that I've uploaded. You'll also notice that you group into different groups. There's groups from A to L, and there's 1,000 students writing in each group. So make sure that you know which group you're in. That will be on the My Exam site, the one that opens. And then the other thing, just in terms of the exam is an online exam. You must be online the whole time. You won't get an exam paper that you can download and do the answers and then come back to upload the answers. You actually have to find the whole time. The questions are all multiple choice questions. There are 2 sets of them just to spread the load. There's actually 2 sessions of 25 questions each, and the questions are randomized. So you will get similar, but not the same as the fellow students. So each student will get a unique exam paper or unique set of questions. That was one of the things that we found with the May exam, that students use WhatsApp groups and so on to check answers and so on. Some students, not all, but those bad apples caused a lot of problems, and that's why we have randomized questions this time around. Important thing, like I said, go to the exam portal, see whether you can access the mock exam paper, and good luck. Are there any? Yeah, Gershwin, thank you. That's about my story. But thanks again for your effort, and also Bronwyn for arranging these tutorial classes.
No, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, Prof. I see Colleen. Pippa has a question for you. May you just hold on. Colleen, you're welcome to unmute, and then Prof will just answer your question.
Thanks. I did notice that exam come online, which is appreciative. Thank you very much. I was just wondering, can we have that mock exam until a little bit later, because this module that I'm doing is actually my last exam, where I have another one which is on Tuesday. So my priority, and maybe it's priority of other students as well, is to try and start prepping for their first set of exams, where this one is kind of up, or for me is for my last exam. If it can be extended to be available until before that exam, or does it have to be before the exams start completely?
Thanks, Colleen. No, they want to keep the exam portal clean and not too much traffic in terms of students trying to access mock exam papers and so on. For me, it's more important that you just go through the steps of opening the mock exam paper. That's for me the main purpose. The actual questions, what I've done, I've taken the first semester assignment questions and just packaged it into a mock exam paper. So if you're worried about the content of the mock exam, they all come from the first semester assignments. What I also have done is I've uploaded the answers, the guidelines to the first semester assignments onto the MyUnisa site. So if you look on the MyUnisa, under the additional resources link, there's a folder first semester guidelines or something, I can't remember now. So you have the actual questions in your tutorial letter 101, and also the feedback in tutorial letters 201 and 202, which I've uploaded under the additional resources folder. I've also done it for supplementary students, and also students that you won't believe. There's some students that wrote October 2019 who qualified for a SUP, which they wanted to write in May 2020, and then something happens, and now the exam is transferred to now. So there's actually 3 groups of students writing now. Did I answer your question, Colleen?
Struggling to unmute. Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry, it was struggling to unmute. Thank you. I did notice the assignments solutions did go up, so I've downloaded all of that.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, Gershwin, if there's no more questions, then I'll leave elasticity and whatever to you. Good luck, and yeah, in a way, I hope I don't see you again in this module, but good luck for your studies.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, then much. I'll leave the session. Thank you, Gershwin.
Thank you, pleasure. So guys, yes, so I remember I went through this slide previously, okay? So I did add a few little things in here. There is some few practice questions that we're going to be going through, but the key thing I want to highlight on this slide, and let me just, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. If you guys don't mind, if I'm not going to put it in presentation mode because then it goes all wonky on my side. So if you can see it over here, I'm just going to try and make it maybe a little bit bigger. And then, yeah, I'll switch between the 2 slides. So the key thing that I want you to understand or take away from the slide, and I know it's very busy, but I did speak to it the last time we had a session, okay, is this definition over here, right? It reads as follows. It says elasticity is defined as the percentage and that little triangle, that means percentage change in a dependent variable, right? And your dependent variable is normally on your x-axis, right? If you see the graph over here, it's on your x-axis, right? If the relevant independent variable, which is in your y-axis over here, right? Normally it's price, right? Changes by 1%. Okay? This is obtained by dividing the percentage change in the dependent variable by the percentage change in the independent variable. So what I'm trying to say to you here is, let's use this graph on the right-hand side as an example. We've got rainfall as your independent variable. In other words, the rainfall is going to change. Right? Rainfall is your independent variable. Maize crop is your dependent variable. So rainfall is going to change, right? With that 1% or that change in your rainfall, that is going to determine the size of the maize crop. Similarly, if there's going to be a change in the price, it's going to determine what's going to happen to your quantity demanded. And that's all I want you to take away in terms of price elasticity of demand. Okay. So now I'm going to move over to this. Excuse me quickly. So I'm going to come back to this formulas over here, all right? And I did put this on the side. I did put in the meeting chat. So this is your formula. Please write it. You've got it over there, but write it down. And the reason why I'm saying write it down. So once you start writing it down, you start not practicing, but you're writing it. Right, and then you start internalizing what you're actually taking it into your brain and start internalizing and seeing what you, and that way you can remember. Yes, the exam is going to be online, but the point is for you to understand and interpret and fully and grasp what you are. Okay. So as I said earlier on, your price elasticity of demand, which is denoted by ED over here, is equal to your percentage change in your dependent variable divided by the percentage change in your independent variable, right? If your independent variable changes by 1%, okay? So in the case over here, you got Q1, which is your initial quantity demanded, and P1, which is your initial price. Remember the change, Q divided by Q1, that's the next step, divided by percentage change in your price, divided by Q1, P1 is initial. Always remember that. Okay. What is my initial price? What is my initial quantity demanded? So this is essentially the formula that you're going to end up. So now in terms of the price elasticity of demand, what is it? It's your quantity demanded to, I'm just making a Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1. In this case, your Q1 over here is your initial quantity demanded, right? Divided by P2 minus P1 divided by P1. P1 is my initial price. Importantly over here, right? Whenever you see a change in something, it's always the second, right? Quantity minus the initial quantity. The second price minus the first price, okay? The initial price. That is percentage change. You're going to see as we go through, it's going to make more sense. But that's the key takeaway that I want you to take from this. Okay. Okay. So in terms of these two, I mean, you guys did see this previously. Okay. I did explain this, all of these over here, but the other thing is on the far right hand side, on the bottom over there, there are different kinds of elasticity. So there's price elasticity of demand. There's price elasticity of supply. There's income elasticity of demand. And key words here, income, demand. So now you know, right, that your income is going to change, and that's going to have, it's going to determine your quantity demanded. But we'll get there, right? Then you have the cross-elasticity of demand. The key thing over there is it's about substitutes and complements. Price of related goods changes. One of them changes. Then, in terms of the cross-elasticity of demand, you need to actually say, listen, is this a substitute or is it a complement? Okay? Those are the key differences over there. We are going to get them. All right? So I'm just going to pause quickly and ask everybody if there is any questions. Just bearing in mind, obviously, when we are going to take a 10-minute little break. But I just want to pause. If you guys are all good, just let me know. Then we can carry on. You can just give me a thumbs up and we can carry on. But if you got any questions, please put your hand up and we can take some questions quickly. Can you guys hear me? I'm waiting for the attenders over there. Apologies. Attenders, welcome to unmute yourself. And if you guys don't mind, maybe you can also put video on so I can see who I'm talking to. You know, I haven't seen any of your beautiful faces. You're only looking at my ugly mug every single time. So it'll be nice to see your faces as well. If you can speed it and if your Wi-Fi or your reception, your line isn't too bad. The tender.
I'm still driving,
Okay.
but I will listen in. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody.
Good
We can carry
evening,
on.
Fagan. Thank you very much. You're a stunning looking guy. Thank you.
Well, I'll switch off my video now. Thank you. I'm getting embarrassed.
No, you mustn't be embarrassed. You mustn't be embarrassed. It's
Yeah.
nice
So
to engage and to see somebody's face.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's
there's no
especially
questions.
yeah. No, I'm fine, thanks. So far, like I said, I'm driving, but I'm listening. I will go over the work.
Okay.
Get home. Thank you. I'm still on my way home, but
No
I'm a little
problem. Thank
listening.
you, Fagan.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna carry on then. So as I explained the last time, the key thing over here, and on the far right hand side, if you look over there, okay, the key thing is, remember I said to P1 in the case of price elasticity of demand. The key thing is to remember the formula. Okay, it's this formula over here, right? ED is equal to Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 divided by P1. As I said previously, what is my Q1? It's my initial quantity demanded. What's my P1? My P1 is my price. Okay? Because they are going to put it, the questions is going to come in terms of those factors. So the way that I normally write it is, and if I had to put it in here, right? Take this out, and I'm just using a silly example here, but it's just to hide the way that I start my answer, right? Because this is a bit too big. So now they give me the question, and maybe let's look. I do have another. No, there's another question. So what I'm saying to you is, in the case of this question over here, they're saying to us, assume we're operating at B. What's B? Right? B is here, price is on your vertical axis. I'm just going to explain the graph. Price is on your vertical axis, on your horizontal axis. Okay, this is quantity demanded. So at point A, which is at the price of 10 and the quantity demanded of 0. At point B, we have a price of 8 Rand and 4 units of the quantity demanded. Okay. So now what they're saying, what they're saying to me is we are moving from point B to point C. All right, I need to calculate the price elasticity of demand. So what I'm going to do is, all right, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my P1. I'm not going to put it in subscripts P1 and my Q1. All right, I know my price. My price is 8 Rand and my quantity demanded at B is 4 Rand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say 8 and 4. That's how I start off. Now I know my, okay, let's have a look at my P and my Q2. Okay, I've just muted her now. Or muted the person over there, sorry. All right. So as you can see over here, P1 and Q1 I put in already because I got that. I know that's my initial price. I know that's my initial quantity. Okay. So now I'm moving from point B to point C. At point C, my price is 5 Rand and my quantity demanded is 10 units. So now what I'm going to do is, my price is what, 5? Let's have a look again, sorry. 5 and 10. 5 and 10. So now simply what am I going to do? I'm going to plug this into the formula. And what is our formula? Without having to look over there, right? ED is equal to what's on top? It's percentage change in the dependent variable. What is that? Right? It's quantity demanded. So it's Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1. Right? All I'm going to say is control unbind. Okay. Now it's my P2 minus P1 divided by my initial price. Now I'm just going to plug the stuff in. What is Q2? What's Q2? You see, that is why I've listed it on top over here to make my life easier. I can just plug the stuff in. I don't need to go look for it in terms of going over here to the graph and seeing, okay, no, fine, I've got it over here. That's why I've written it the way that I have. But the reason why I'm repeating it over here is just to highlight to you the sequence of steps that actually helps me just to do this very quickly. What is Q2? Q is 10 minus Q1, which is 4, divided by Q1, which is 4. Now, the one that I love to do is, all right, once you start doing this after a few times, then you do realize that, yeah, these two numbers are going to be the same because it is the same. Okay. What is P2? P2 is 5 minus 8 divided by 8. Okay. We have 10 minus 4 is 6 divided by, that's 6 divided by 4. Divided by 5 minus 8 is minus 3 divided by 4. Okay. Yes, you're going to solve. And what answer we're going to come up with is minus, let's have a look. I'm not going to do all of that math. Minus 3 over 8. Did I make a mistake? Yes, I did. Over there. is minus 4. Minus 4. Okay. So in terms of price elasticity of demand, you ignore the minus sign, right? And the reason for that is because it's a negative relationship between price and quantity demand. Remember, the law of demand is a negative relationship. That's why it's a negative. Okay, so we ignore that negative. Okay, so I've worked it out, but the key thing over here is, right? So now we've worked it out. Now you know how to work out your price elasticity of demand. Focus on the far right-hand side over here, right? Given that your price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, we say, right, let me make this a little bit bigger. We say that demand is elastic. When the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, we say that demand is elastic. When you see the word in terms of price elasticity of demand, just replace elastic with sensitive. When we talk about supply, say responsive, because who's supplying is manufacturers, right? Remember supply, we talk about the producers, the manufacturers, the suppliers of those goods or services. When we're talking about demand, we're talking about consumers, okay? We're talking about households. So in this case over here, demand is elastic. Demand is sensitive to price changes. What goods are those? Right? That is your milk, that's your bread, okay? Stuff like cigarettes, alcohol, they are price inelastic. Remember putting the in front of elastic, it's insensitive. Right? Because people, it doesn't matter, yes, let's use the word ceteris paribus over here, barring everything else, people are still going to buy them. And barring let's say substitutes, like in the case of cigarettes, then maybe we'll go buy tobacco. I'm saying barring all of that, negate all of that, people are still going to go and buy the stuff. It doesn't matter, because every year we've got syntaxes, right? Every single year the price of those goods, the alcohol and the cigarettes, goes up, right? That is why government increases sin taxes every year, because there's negative externalities associated with it. When I say negative externalities, I'm talking about the price of, people's health. With people's health deteriorating, what's going to happen? It's going to be increased health burden. In other words, people are going to come more to the hospitals. It's increased health burden on the state, because the state now needs to pay more money. Anyway, that is as an aside, but the key thing over here is, what are we seeing over here? Demand is elastic. Elastic you replace with sensitive. Oh man, people are sensitive. They're sensitive to price increases, especially when it's greater than 1. If it's less than 1, they're insensitive. You can increase the price, decrease the price, it's fine. I'm still going to buy that good or service. Okay. Things that are inelastic as well. Another example is maybe medicine. Okay. Petrol. Those are goods that are priced inelastic. Price inelastic. In other words, the demand for the product is insensitive to price changes. So we are going to come to an example now where we are going to explain, where you are going to see that the price elasticity of demand, that ED is less than 1. But I'm skipping that already. I'm saying to you, and I'm putting it on your radar, that you can make note of that already. Okay. So is there any questions on that? You're welcome to put your hand up. I see that Jolene, you're welcome to unmute. Jolene, I see that you took your hand away again. Don't be shy, it's fine. You guys remember there is no such thing as Jolene. I see you there. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, I just put
Go
my ear.
ahead.
I just put
Oh,
my ear.
no problem.
I just want to ask if if it was a -4, you say we will ignore the negative. Would it be just a 4 then to answer?
Very, very good question. Okay. So you can ignore the minus sign, but the point is that when you do your calculations, always remember, because depending how they ask the question, always remember that with price elasticity of demand, you have a minus in front of it. So say, for example, they say to you, the price elasticity of demand is, yeah, you need to calculate it. And they maybe give you, there's one of the numbers that's missing. I'm just using hypotheticals over here, right? The key thing is, whilst trying to work out one of the other stuff, you must always remember that your ED, your price elasticity of demand, or the value for that, pardon, is a negative. It's a minus. It's a minus in front of it. That's all I'm trying to say to you. Okay.
So if they give us a question like this in the exam and 2 of the answers is one is 4 and one is -4, will we then tick the -4 amount? Because this feels like a catch-out question.
Yes. No, it's just remember that the reason why price elasticity of demand is negative is because of the negative relationship between price and the quantity demanded. Right? Can you see this is a negative sloping line?
Thank you.
Okay. That's a pleasure. We're still unmuted over there. Sorry, man. Thank you very much, Jolie. I don't see any other hands. Let's carry on. Okay, we've got that. Let me just make this a little bit smaller. So, yeah, right at the bottom over here, right at the bottom, hey, not working with me this evening. Just pull it right at the bottom. Remember, I said to you about when demand is inelastic, when a good or service is price inelastic, you're welcome to read over here. I said to you that demand for the product is insensitive to price changes. Okay, people don't care if the price increases. That is loosely said. Okay, they will still buy the product, for example, cigarettes, alcohol, petrol, medicine, because you need it. Okay, cigarettes and alcohol, but you get the point of price. Okay, so then please note on the far right hand side of here, when calculating the price elasticity of demand, please ignore the minus sign. Given that the change in price of product and the change in the quantity demanded move in opposite directions, as I said earlier, it's a negative relationship. Okay, these are the goodies. The third and the fourth bullet is just for you to know. Okay, the key things that I'm trying to say to you is that last little ones there, the last bullets that are in red. Okay, so when we talk about elastic demand, remember right? Sensitive. Just think about in the case of demand, elastic, we talk about sensitive. In the case of supply, it's responsive. So in the case of elastic demand, the more sensitive your quantity demanded is to price changes. In other words, the flatter the slope over here, the flatter it's going to be. The flatter it's going to be. In other words, the more horizontal it's going to be. Okay? The more inelastic demand, the more insensitive your quantity demanded to price changes, the steeper the slope of the demand. And when I say the steeper the demand, the slope of the demand curve, the more vertical it's going to be. Okay. That is the key takeaways from that slide over here. I'm going to move to the next slide. So here are the factors, right, that influence the price elasticity of demand. These are just key things for you to know, and it will make a little bit more sense, right? But these are just for you to note. So I'm going to go through them very quickly. And at the bottom over here, there is an example that we're going to work at. So in the case of substitute goods, the larger the number of substitutes and better the substitute, the greater the price elasticity. In other words, more elastic, more sensitive to price. Instead of 4, it's maybe going to be 6 or 8 as an example. Okay. In the case of complementary goods, right, and we're talking about highly complementary goods now, the lower your price elasticity of demand. In other words, it's more inelastic, it's more insensitive. But remember, complementary goods go together. If I'm going to buy a Blu-ray player, I need a Blu-ray disc. Go with it too. So I'm going to be more insensitive, even though the price is going to change. I'm going to be a bit more insensitive, right, to that price change because the two needs to go together. Okay. In the case of necessities such as medicine and petrol, the lower or relatively more inelastic, more insensitive to price change. Right? In the case of luxury goods, what are luxury goods? A luxury good is a Louis Vuitton bag, an airline ticket, a safari ticket. You know, the stuff that you got money for. Okay. The greater, the relatively more elastic, the more sensitive to price change. Okay. In the case of the time period, when the price of a product changes, the consumer usually needs time to adjust to changes in the relative prices. In other words, greater the price elasticity of demand. In other words, from 5 to 10 or to 50, I'm using silly examples, but the key thing is I'm trying to show you or highlight to you the greater the price elasticity of demand. Okay, the relatively more elastic in the long run than in the short run. And then the last one over here is the proportion of income spent on the product. In other words, the greater, right? In other words, the higher the proportion of income spent on the product, the greater or relatively more elastic, more sensitive to price change, right? So I have a question for you at the bottom, right? I took this from an ECS1501 exam paper 2016. But it highlights, and I did see in one of your papers that did actually ask a question like, so you're doing something that is relevant and it might come in your exam. I did actually show you on the right-hand side how I worked it out over here, okay? So now the question reads, if the price elasticity of demand is 0.5, right? You know, it says 0.5, but it's actually negative 0.5. They're ignoring the minus sign. Okay. Then a 20% price hike will lead to a first option is a 5% decrease in quantity demanded, a 10% decrease in quantity demanded, a 20% decrease in quantity demanded, a 40% decrease in quantity. Now we need to come back to our formula. So what is our formula? Price elasticity of demand denoted by ED is equal to percentage change in my dependent variable divided by the percentage change in my independent variable. What's my dependent variable in this case? It is my quantity demanded, right? And my independent variable is my price. So all I'm doing over here is I'm plugging those values into the formula. I'm plugging those values, and what is key? The key thing is you need to know the formula. That's the reason why I put this over here. Okay. Sorry, I muted myself over there. That's the reason why I actually put that over there for you, just to highlight to you, what the formula looks like. Because sometimes you're going to be using this over here or this. Okay. So as I plug that in, I'm actually solving now on both sides, okay? And I come out to the answer being 10%. So that's number 2, 10% decrease in the quantity demanded. Guys, I'm not going to go through how I got. You can see this over here. This is mathematics, okay? If you do have an issue with that, I think the ease of facilitator, they can assist you with more of some of the skills that you need in terms of some more of the genetic skills you need to pass this course. But yes, if you do have any issues with it, and please don't be shy, because you are paying hard and cash over here to pass this. So don't feel shy. If you do have any issues with it, put it in the comment box over there, and then I can take a note of your name, and I can speak to the rest of the learner support. Okay, and then we can take it from there. All right. So I hope all of you are happy. If there is yeah, we're going to go through to a next some more examples over here. Yeah, so the next example is there's a 50% increase in the price, which results in a 90% decrease in the quantity demand, which indicates that demand is elastic in this price. So this is a true or false. So the first thing over here is, right, that we need to know, okay, now fine, we can see there's a change in the price. They're talking about quantity demanded, so then we know that this is price elasticity of demand. The next thing that we need to know is, I'm going to find if my price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, what is it? What is the good? The good is price elastic. In other words, it's relatively more sensitive to it's sensitive to price change. Price elastic, right? So we worked it out. I've got my formula over here. I plugged it in, right? 90 divided by 50 is equal to minus 1.8. Or 1, you can put it 1. It's greater than 1. Therefore, we know that demand is elastic for this good. Demand is sensitive to price changes. Demand is sensitive to price changes. Okay, twice 2 over. Okay, the next one reads as follows: if the demand curve is horizontal, it implies that the elasticity of demand is perfectly inelastic. Is that true or false? Remember what I said earlier, right? If when demand is elastic, it's flatter the slope of the demand. Flatter, right? Flatter. Or inelastic demand, the steeper. In other words, it's reaching to vertical. So in the case of this question over here, it's not perfectly inelastic, it's perfectly elastic. That is a horizontal line. Please make a note of this. When it's vertical, then it's perfectly inelastic. If a demand curve is vertical, it implies that the elasticity of demand is perfectly inelastic. If the demand curve is vertical, it implies the elasticity of demand is perfectly inelastic. If a demand curve is horizontal, it implies that the elasticity of demand is perfectly elastic. Okay, I hope you all have that. And then we move over to the price elasticity of supply. So now we've covered the hard bit, given introductions. Now essentially, it's just basically replicating, it's duplicating, but in the case of supply. And all I'm going to do here is, all I'm going to say to you is that instead of quantity demanded, I'm saying quantity supplied. It's exactly the same. Yes, my notation for price elasticity of supply is now, instead of being ED, it's ES, right? This looks exactly the same. It's the price elasticity of supply, right? How responsive, right, is supply to price changes, right? Let's read the definition. Price elasticity of supply. The price elasticity of supply is the percentage change in the quantity supplied if the price of the product changes by 1% set as parameters, everything else being equal. I'll read it again to you. The price elasticity of supply is the percentage change in the quantity supplied if the price of the product changes by 1%. Everything else being equal. You've seen that there is exactly the same formula, but in this case, right, your Q1 is your initial quantity supplied, right? Initial quantity supplied, right? In terms of a definition, it is the percentage change in the quantity supplied if the price of the product changes by 1%. Okay? If my price elasticity of supply is greater than 1, we say that the price elasticity of supply is elastic. If it's less than 1, we again say that the price elasticity of supply is inelastic. Okay? What did I say to you earlier on? In terms of elastic now, for price elasticity of supply, you change the word to responsive. Responsive, okay? Do you guys need me to pause over there? Is there any questions? This guys can just put thumbs up on the side over here. But again, I need help with the equations, mathematical component, please. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that, Fagan. Guys, you're very quiet this evening. You know, just put on the side over there. All happy, must I just carry on? You can just put a thumbs up in the meeting chat and now we can continue. So Tinda, you're welcome to unmute. I see that you got a question, or did you put your hand down again? Wonderful. Okay. Let's carry on. So these are the factors at the bottom over here that influence the price elasticity of supply. Right? So time period. In the short run, most supply curves are inelastic. Okay. In other words, relatively more unresponsive to a price change. Remember what I said to you earlier on. You're changing the word elastic. It's not sensitive anymore. It's responsive. Okay. Because suppliers do not have time to respond to a price change. In terms of expectations of higher prices will result in increased supply by producer. If the producer perceives that the price change to be a long-term phenomenon, such supply conditions will tend to be more elastic, more responsive, right? In other words, greater the price elasticity of supply. Supply will be relatively more responsive to a price change, okay? In the case of excess capacity, products that can be stockpiled, in other words, you increase your inventories. Yeah, I hope everyone understands what stockpile means. Have a more elastic supply, right? More responsive to a price change. Right? Supply is relatively more responsive to an increase in the price. In other words, producers will, with excess production capacity, will be able to respond more quickly to a price increase than firms that are operating at full capacity. Okay, and then the availability of inputs. If essential inputs are not available, producers cannot increase their output in reaction to an increase in the price of their product. Therefore, when such conditions prevail, supply is inelastic, which you have a lower price elasticity of supply. In other words, what is it? It's less than 1. It's less than. In other words, supply is unresponsive to an increase in price. Okay. So now I've got an example over here. Okay. I'm going to ask, can I ask one of you guys to go through this? What I can do is, as you talk to it, you just fill in the answer at the bottom over here. Okay. Would anybody like to attempt this? And guys, please don't be shy. Eh? We are all here with one another. Any hands? That's 9 more minutes and we're going to have a break, so we can do this very, very quickly. Guys, please don't be shy. Thank you, Jolene. You're welcome to unmute and let's give it a go.
I'm going to give it a go. I'm not so clued up on this stuff yet, but let's try it. So I will say
I love the attitude.
it's the quantity supplied. So it's the 30%.
So what is 30% in terms
The
of numbers?
quantity supplied, 30%.
What is 30%?
30.
So 30 divided by 10, 100, which is 0.3. And what is the price is 10%?
Yes.
Right, which is 0.1. Right, do you guys all understand that? And what is it? 0.3 divided by 0.1. Did you see what I did over there?
Yeah, and it's 3.
0.1, 3. So the
So it will
answer
be
is
number 4.
number 4. Because we are dealing with the price elasticity of supply.
And it's greater than 1.
Not demand. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, Alina. I really appreciate you taking the chance, and yeah, it's very much appreciated. Guys, did you see what I did over there? I said 10% is what? 10 divided by 100. That's 10%. 30% is 30 divided by 100. Okay. I divided the two over there to get to my answer. But because I saw quantity supplied over here, that's what I knew that we're dealing with the price elasticity of supply and not demand. Okay. Are we cool with that? Here's the answer over there. Okay. Here we got another, and not Jolene this time. We've got another question. So, which one of the following statements is correct? Price elasticity of demand is always positive. Elasticity of demand means that the quantity supplied is sensitive to price. Inelastic demand means that quantity demanded is highly sensitive to the price. Elasticity of supply means the quantity supplied is sensitive to the price. So it's not just giving me the right answer over here. I want you to tell me the reason why, though these are incorrect. So we're going to go through 1, 2, 3, and 4 and tell me are they incorrect or why the one is correct. Guys, don't be shy, man. Okay? Besides Jolene and Cameron and Colleen and the tender, is there anybody else that would like to try and figure it out? I see the tender did put the right answer in over there. Well done to tender. But besides that, here corner. There's not the corners of me. Helen, would you like to give it a go? I see we've quite a small class this evening, eh? There's only 10 of us. Taryn, would you like to give it a go? Or anybody else? Given our small numbers, or in this case, yeah, given that we've got 4 minutes left, what is the correct answer? You can maybe just put that in the chat. Which one of the following statements is correct? The price elasticity of demand is always positive. Elasticity of demand means that the quantity supplied is sensitive to price. Inelastic demand means that the quantity demanded is highly sensitive to the price. Elasticity of supply means that the quantity supplied is sensitive to the price. So Taryn has got number 4. Jolene said number 1 is incorrect. Jolene is saying 4. No, it's fine, Taryn. I appreciate that. Yes, is anybody else? Salima and Sajida. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your names correctly. Vijiswa. It doesn't matter, you just give it a try. Because if you don't do it now, you're going to come to the exam and you're going to sit here and, oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, let's talk to it quickly. The price elasticity of demand is always positive. That's wrong. It's negative because of the law of demand, which is a negative relationship. Elasticity of demand means the quantity supplied. Oh, here's your answer already. Wrong. It's not quantity supplied. It's quantity demand. Inelastic demand means the quantity demand is highly sensitive. It's insensitive. Remember the in over there? Insensitive. Insensitive to the price. It's less than 1, right? When you got when something is priced inelastic, right? Alcohol. Just associate the goods and services to these things. That is the easiest way to remember it, right? If your child doesn't have medicine that they need, or let me rather put it let me put it differently. You're going to pay any price for your child when they are sick. If they need a certain type of antibiotic, it doesn't matter if it's 3, 5, 600 rand, you're going to make sure you're going to get that money because they are sick. Okay, medicine is priced inelastic. Petrol is priced inelastic. You need it for your car, otherwise your car is staying. You need to pay the price. Okay? What people are very sensitive to in terms of price elastic goods like bread or milk. Right? Every single family, poor, rich, especially the poor. If it's a 10 cents or a 50 cents increase in the price of milk or bread, people are going to be very, very upset. So always remember that. Okay? Elasticity of supply means that the quantity supplied is sensitive to the price. This is correct, right? Elasticity of supply means the quantity supplied is sensitive to the. There we go. That's your answer. We're going to take a little bit of a 10-minute break. I will see you guys back at 22. Thank you. I'm going to mute myself and put off my camera now. Hi guys, I'm back again. I did put the feedback form in the meeting chat already. And for those of you that haven't put or haven't signed the Teams register, I'm going to put it back in the again for you. Please fill that in. We've got another 20 minutes before we say goodnight to everybody. So what we're going to be going through in the next few minutes is income elasticity and also cross-elasticity of demand. Okay, let's get going. In terms of the income elasticity of demand, here you're going to have a change in your income, all right? And what is going to happen to the price, to the quantity demanded? Okay, so essentially, yes, it's exactly the same formula, right? What is your dependent variable? It's quantity demanded. What's your independent variable? It is your income. So what's going to your change in your income is going to determine what's going to happen to your quantity demanded. Okay. So essentially, yeah, it's exactly the same formula at the bottom of the line. We're just putting your income as your independent variable. It's change, right? Your second income minus your initial income divided by your initial income. Your second quantity demanded minus your initial quantity demanded divided by your initial quantity demanded. Okay. So, sorry about that. So I'm going to read this through for you quickly. Is everybody okay? And now started off really quickly over there. Are we all good? Are we good to go? Just a thumbs up. I'm hoping that everybody's still all here and nobody's left. Right? Are we all good? Thank you, Taryn. So goods with a positive income elasticity of demand are called normal goods. Right? Now I need you to understand that. Please make a note somewhere. Right? Goods with a positive income elasticity of demand. Positive income elasticity. It's positive, right? Because we start, there's going to be different classifications. So I need you to understand that, right? Those are called normal goods. When you have a negative income elasticity of demand, right? Those goods are inferior goods. Negative income elasticity of demand, those are inferior goods. So in other words, if your income increases, if your income decreases, you're going to buy more inferior goods. In the case, let's use a simple example. Instead of buying a toasted sandwich, you're going to buy 2-minute noodles. Right? 2-minute noodles in this case is an inferior good. Okay. So once your income increases, then you are going to reduce your consumption of inferior goods. Right? And you may be going to say, okay, if my income's increase, I'm going to buy 2-minute noodles. Now I'm going to rather go for a nice, beautiful toasted tuna sandwich or chicken and mayo sandwich. All right. So when your goods are positive, with goods with a positive income elasticity of demand, that being your normal goods, right? We are going to subclassify them. You're going to have normal goods as either luxury goods or essential goods. Normal goods are either luxury goods or essential goods. Remember, I gave you an example earlier of a luxury good. A luxury good example of it is airline ticket, a Dolce & Gabbana bag, a Louis Vuitton bag, a safari ticket, staying at a 5-star safari lodge. That's a luxury good. Okay, an essential good is medicine, right? So in the case of an essential good such as medicine, income elasticity of demand is going to be greater than 0 but less than 1. Greater than 0 but less than 1. It has to be greater than 0 because it's not negative, it's still a normal good. So please understand, whenever you get a question about income elasticity of demand, as soon as you see it's positive, okay, now I know it's positive, okay? I know it's a normal good. It's a normal good, but I also know that normal goods can either be a luxury good or it can be an essential good. A luxury good, airline ticket. An essential good is what? Medicine, right? In the case of essential good, I know that my income elasticity of demand must be between 0 and less than 1, right? If it's greater than 1, I know it's a luxury good. But an essential good and a luxury good are normal goods. If you got that, then you will never ever get this wrong. And please write it down over there somewhere. Okay? Right? Income elasticity of demand. If it's positive, it's a normal good. If it's a negative, it's an inferior good. Right? When you're thinking about an inferior good, right? It's a negative relationship. Right? So if my price of my inferior good increases, my quantity demanded is a negative relationship. It's going to decrease. They don't like one another, right? Because what I'm going to do is if my income increases, my quantity demand of my inferior good is going to decrease. I'm going to replace it. I'm rather going to buy something else. It's an inferior good, right? So now I know if it's positive, right, the good is a normal good. If it's negative, it's an inferior good. Now I know, right, within the normal goods, good can either be a luxury good or an essential good. If it's an essential good, my income elasticity of demand is between 0, it's greater than 0, but it's less than 1. Greater than 0 is 0.1. Less than 1 is 0.99. Okay? When my luxury good is greater than 1, it's 1.1 as an example. Okay. That is all that I want you to take from the slide over here. Is there any questions? You can just raise your hand. Did I explain it adequately? If there is no other, I don't see anybody. Yeah, otherwise we're just going to carry. Okay. So now I've got an example. Okay. You saw the formula, so I'm not going to repeat it again. Here's the example. I'll read it out. A worker earns 12,000 monthly and demands 200 liters of petrol per month. A worker earns 12,000 rand monthly and demands 200 liters of petrol per month. The worker's income decreases. And now, what did I say to you earlier on? Let's insert a text box over here. Right? Remember what I said to you earlier on. What do I do first? Right? A worker earns 12,000 rand monthly. I know that's my I1. That's my I1. Is equal to 12,000. Right? Make this a subscript. It's not looking nice. And my okay, it's gonna take me too long to do that. Equal to right. My quantity demanded 1. It's a Q1 is equal to okay. So I1 is 12,000. Q1 is 200 liters. So I put that in already. Right? The worker's income decreases to 11,000 and he now demands 190 liters of petrol per month. Calculate the income elasticity of demand. My I2 is equal to 11,000. Q2 is equal to 190 liters. Now I'm just going to plug in this formula over here. and solve. Right? So it's Q2 minus, I'm just going to plug that in, which I've done over here. And what do I end up with? What do I end up with? 0.6. Okay? And we're not going to get the bottom over there. Remember what I said to you? Recall what I said to you? That if it's positive, okay? In my mind, I'm not going to even look at the answer. I remember 0.6, okay? If it's positive, I know it's going to be a normal good. So normal good, I know it's not. If it was negative, I know it was inferior good. I know it's a normal good. All right? Now I know within the classifications of normal goods is luxury goods, and there's the easy essential goods. A luxury good is when the income elasticity of demand is greater than 1, not greater than 1. Okay, so clearly it's an essential good. And the reason for that is that it's because it's greater than 0 but less than 1. 0.6 greater than 0 but less than 1. Right? Does it make sense? Is there any questions on that? Tender saying carry on. All good. Okay, so the next question is as follows. If the income elasticity of demand is positive, but less than 1, the good is called an essential good. If the income elasticity of demand is positive, right, but less than 1, the good is called an essential good. That's true. Okay, an essential good such as medicine is where the income elasticity is positive, but less than 1. A luxury good, we know this now, right? Such as an airline ticket, right, is greater than 1. The income elasticity of demand is greater than 1. However, both of these are normal goods because they have a positive income elasticity. Okay, so now we're going to move over to your cross elasticity of demand. Right? Here we are looking at the different, essentially it's the price of related goods. One of them, they are related, right? The other substitute or a complement. In other words, these goods are either a substitute or complement. That's what we're wanting to find out. Right? If let's move it over here quickly. If you have a negative cross elasticity of demand, right at the bottom over here. If you have a negative cross elasticity of demand, then those two goods are complements. If they have a positive cross elasticity of demand, then it's substitutes. Right? Sometimes I use simple. I say if it's positive, they substitute. If it's negative, they complements. Right? Try and remember these type of things in your own little way. Okay. So in terms of the formula over here, your QA1 is your initial quantity demanded of product A. That's why I've got A over there. Initial price of product B is PB1. So you're going to have to study this over here. Right? But all you need to remember is, right, that your independent variable is at the bottom over here. And that is the thing that is changing. The independent variable determines the dependent variable. Okay. So in terms of cross elasticity demand, one of the elements of demand is the price of related products. As the price of related products changes, in other words, your substitution and your complements, the quantity demanded may also increase or decrease. The cross elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of one product, right, to any changes in the price of a related product. Right? In that example over there, we have the price of meat. Pardon me. The price of meat is 30 Rand per kilogram, and the quantity demanded of chicken is 5.4 kilograms per month. Right? The price of meat increases to 40 Rand per kilogram, and the quantity demanded of chicken is now 6 kilograms per month. Can you see one of the products, the price changed, and the quantity demanded of the other product changed as well because of that price change, right? So all they're wanting for you to actually calculate over here is, are those two products, right? Are there other substitutes or are there complements? If the cross elasticity of demand is positive, it shows that those two products are substitutes. If it's negative, those two products are then complements. That's essentially what you're trying to work at over here. Okay? So now I'm going to say there's a small hint. I said to you, we need to make meat good B because its price is changing and it is an independent variable, and chicken good A. Right? So here I'm saying I put D in over there just to show you that it's actually quantity demanded. Right? The D is just saying to you quantity demanded of chicken 1. That's my initial quantity demanded of chicken. Okay? And then PM1 is the price of meat, which is the initial price of meat. Right? And then all I'm doing over here is just plugging it into the formula. Right? But essentially, don't get yourself confused over here. Or that A and that B, I'm just trying to highlight to you that this is product A and that's product B. But as long as you know which one the price is changing. So I'm hoping you're not going to get confused with that. Okay. And then I solved and I worked out. Okay, it's plus, eventually my answer comes to plus 0.33. In other words, 1 divided by 3. So it's positive. What does it say to me? If it's positive, meat and chicken are substitutes. Okay. Is there any questions on that? I see we've got 6 more minutes left. This is arc elasticity over here, and I've included an example with that as well. Okay, but you can actually work through that. There is other examples. Ideally, the major thing that you need to remember with this is that it's the change in the quantity, right, which is your dependent variable divided by the average of that quantity, right? In other words, Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2, so that you work at the average, right? Divided by the change in the price, right? Which we got over here, divided by the average price. And they're going to give you those points, okay? So just remember the formula for arc elasticity and you won't go wrong, right? Let's pause over there, let's take some questions and we can take it from there. So you can raise your hand and then we can wrap up tonight's class. Is everybody very tired this evening? So Tinder, you're saying you're good. None from you, Cameron. In terms of here's some more questions over here that I did include. I'm actually going to put this in the we can go through this next week as a small little recap. Okay. Yeah, I didn't put this. Let me just put it up here to show you. So what I was speaking about, there's 2 examples, right? This again just working out the price of demand, and then the second example is related to income elasticity of demand. So we'll go through that next week as an introduction or basically a small little recap. But in terms of next week's class, we are going to be going through we're going to be starting with the background to supply, production costs. So we'll be going through that. Okay. So other than that, are we all good? Are we all good, guys? Can we finish off this evening? Now, with that, thank you very much. You guys must have a beautiful evening and keep safe. And until next week and Thursday, yes, have a beautiful weekend. And don't work too hard. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.